Hello everyone, I'm GBKuhleen, and in today's video, we're gonna open and build the entire Valentine series from MiniVerse. In total, there are 4 items to collect, and I'm gonna try my best to do each and every one of them a little bit different from what they show us on the collector's guide. By the way, this series is similar to the Halloween version where you can actually tell what's inside before purchasing it. For example, as you can see on the package, this particular one is the red velvet cake. Here's our resin. It says vanilla on it, but as most of you know, red velvet cake actually has a cream cheese frosting. This is the heart-shaped red velvet cake. Here's the icing that goes on top of the cake. We got a box of those wafer sticks cookies, the red velvet crumbs, a beautiful rose gold cake stand, and in the last pouch we got a pair of rose gold tweezers, a themed knob thingy that goes on the other half of the capsule, and a spatula. Like I said earlier, I want to do something a little bit different for each of them, and for this particular one, this is what I have in mind. I'm gonna grab the spatula and I'm gonna put a band of icing here on the sides, which will go all around the cake. And don't worry, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's actually better if it's not perfect, and you'll see why in a bit. This band is a little bit too thin, so I'm just gonna move this resin around a little bit and kind of like get it a little bit thicker. And in certain parts, just add a little bit more. All right, something like this. Now we're gonna cure the resin. Okay, what I want to do now is actually stick this to something so that it's easier to work with. And I think I can use this base from a different MiniVerse table and then stick some of this mounting putty to the top part. Put this like so, and hopefully it sticks. It kind of sticks, but it's not as secure as I would like it to be. Probably because of the texture and the material that this is made of. It's almost like a rubber. I think if I'm gentle with it, it's gonna be okay. So now what I want to do is add more resin to the top and the bottom part. Now this is the part, so to speak, where you have to be really careful. And that's, of course, if you want to do it the exact same way that I did it. But I encourage you to actually try something different and, make it your own. Add your own twist to it. So the top part is done. Now for the bottom part. So now I'm going to use a toothpick to move the resin around and make sure it covers all the cake. Okay, so far so good. Time for the really messy part. I'm gonna need a little bit of space here because I'm gonna put a tray so that I catch whatever's, dropping. The excess of the crumble is just dropping into this instead of on my table. And now, of course, it's time for the UV light. Okay, so now in theory, all the crumbles should have just stuck like here, see? To the top and the bottom part, nothing in the middle. With a quick brush, we should be able to just remove all that. Let's see. I think this brush is a little bit too soft, but it kind of works. I guess you can also use like a toothpick to remove these and get a really nice clean look. Okay, so here's what I got so far, and I think it looks pretty good. That was kind of like what I was going for, but you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, once we add everything else, it should look even better, so let's keep building on this. Next up is the icing, and for that, we're just gonna need a thin layer of resin here on the top. Okay, something like that. I don't want to add too much. Maybe even this is too much, because it might squeeze out on the sides when we put the thingy on. I guess it's a topper in this instance, but technically it's icing. I just want to make sure it's nice and centered. And by the way, I think that was the absolute perfect amount of resin. All right, so now here in the middle, I would like to create a heart inside of this heart. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to resemble a heart shape as much as possible. So something like that. It's a little crooked, so Yeah, forget about it. I'm just gonna fill up the whole thing now. I had this crazy idea of like just doing a little heart shape, adding the wafers, and then make the outside of resin, like the outside part of the heart, and then that part would be with crumble, which I think I might still be able to do it, but for now let's just go with this and see where it leads us. Okay, that looks good as is. I just real quick want to wipe any excess resin from the icing. Right now I'm gonna add our wafer cookies, or pirouettes, or whatever you want to call them. Really like the placement on those. So let's seal it in place with the UV light. So I'm thinking what we can do now is just work really slow and add a little bit of resin at a time on the edges, and just go around until we get kind of like a heart-shaped, I guess, trail of resin. All right, I think that is kind of good. If for some reason it doesn't turn out great, I can just, cover everything up with resin and then add crumble everywhere. But right now, what we're gonna do is add crumble to that inside part. I don't know how many of these little pebbles are sticking to the icing because there's resin there or not, but I want to make sure I clean it up as good as possible. And now we're gonna cure everything with the UV light and hope for the best. Okay, this is the moment of truth. Well, not quite what I imagined. Let's see if the brush will help. Okay, maybe then a little bit of toothpick action for the really stubborn ones. And here's the final result. It's kind of like a heart shape there, but not, 100%. It's really, really tiny, like this whole thing, and it's really hard to work with and get it all perfect. But let's get it on the cake stand and see how it looks. So this is basically my take, or my version of the MiniVerse red velvet cake. Let me show you real quick how they proposed to make it in the collector's guide. All right, so that's their version. This is mine. Their version, mine. I think if I got this band a little more even, I honestly thought it's gonna look good if it's not even and it's more, random. Now, you be the judge and you let me know in the comments which one looks better. And be honest. In the meantime, while you're leaving that comment, I'm gonna clean the set and we're gonna move on to the next one. Actually, before we move on, I just wanna say real quick, this red velvet crumb is the devil. So please make sure you have something underneath to catch it. Do not let it go all over the place. It's gonna be such a pain to clean. It's not as bad as glitter, but it's pretty close. All right, so it seems like we got another ultra rare, but so far this is the third one I got. I opened one in a short. If you want to check it out, go see that one. We're gonna try to do something different with this. And for the sake of saving some time, we're gonna skip forward just a little bit. So this is basically what you get inside, and I have this crazy idea. I don't know if it's gonna work. It might be really bad, but again, since I already have another one of these, I already made another one of these in a short, I think it's worth trying something crazy and new and out of the ordinary. So I don't know why I bothered putting them on a table, because we're gonna have to clear it for this one. Actually, let's leave the card here and write something on it now, because I think once we start doing this, it's gonna be really crazy and really hectic. So I just want to take this opportunity to say thank you to everyone that's watching this video. Thank you for all of you that are subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you and I'm so grateful for your support. So this little card is actually for you. All right, now back to the craziness. First off, we're gonna have to get these roses ready. And for this particular thing that I want to do, they need to be a lot shorter than they are. Right now, they're pretty long. So we're going to use a pair of scissors to just cut them maybe like this long. I mean, I guess some of them can be a little bit longer. I think this one can be as long as it is. And now, look what I have here. It's a nice silicone mat that I cut out of a bigger one, and it kind of fits almost perfectly on this table. So basically what I'm going for here is kind of like a vase of roses that, tipped over and spilled all the water and the roses out of it. And again, I'm not sure how that will turn out, but hopefully good. I want one of the roses to kind of like still be inside like that. And then these other ones will kind of like be around here. Okay, I'm gonna have to fiddle with this for a while. It's gonna be difficult to get it exactly as I want it to be. I think that works. Yeah, that should be good. And then we also need to get the thank you note in here. And what I'm thinking is, before we make, the big mess of everything spilling all over the place, we should probably just put a little bit of resin here and there and stick everything together, in just one little piece. So we're gonna grab our resin, or my bad, water, but it is resin, so do not drink it. It's not edible. It's very toxic actually. And then basically what I'm going to do is just add, little drops of water here and there to kind of like stick everything together. Great. Okay, so now in theory, everything should be stuck together, so it should stay the way it is. But again, that's just a theory, so let's put it to the test. Ooh, look at that. Perfect. So now what we're gonna have to do is just dump a whole bunch of resin on this and then place this on it and make sure it looks okay, make sure it looks like water is spilling out, and then cure it all in place. So let's see if that will work. Oh wait, I need to check first where exactly the mouth of the vase is so that I can start pouring from there. And then I can probably just, make a little indent here. Nope, that didn't work. I'm gonna have to use a pen for this. Okay, perfect. Could use the resin that they provided. I have another one of these and would probably be enough, but I got this resin on Amazon and it's high viscosity, which should give me a little bit more time to make sure it looks the way I want it to look. I want to see if I can bring these end parts a little bit, outward so that it looks like a splash. I don't know, this is the first time I'm trying something crazy like this, so if it doesn't work, at least we learn something from it. Alright, now it's time to place the vase. Alright, so before we unstick it, I just want to do one more thing. I don't know if you can see, probably not, but here on the side, the vase is not necessarily touching the resin, and that's not necessarily a big deal because the roses are touching the resin, so that should still keep them together. But I would like for it to look a little bit as if there's still some water coming out of the vase, and at the same time, get the vase to stick to the base of the resin. So I don't know if the nozzle of this resin is thin enough to go through that, but I'm gonna give it a try. Okay, that's a lot better. Now let's hurry with the UV light. Okay, and now for the moment of truth. Will it actually unstick from this, or will it be stuck forever? Let's see. Ooh, that's nice. Perfect. There's still a little bit of uncured resin here, but we're gonna hit it with the UV light right now. Alright, well here it is, the final result. I am really happy with the way it turned out. It's a vase of roses that's spilling over, water going everywhere. I think it looks perfect. This is one of those MiniVerse items that I make and I'm actually really proud of. You know what I'm wondering? Does it still stand? It does. That's crazy. Wait, let me get a different table here. Look at that. You can have it like that, and even if you turn it around, this is how it looks on the other end. But obviously the best way to display it is like this. If you haven't already left a comment, let me know what you think about this one. So I do have a couple ideas how to improve it and make it look even more realistic. For example, I could dip the end of a toothpick in the resin and then, touch it up here and there and make it look like it's droplets of water. But I think we're gonna leave it as is for now so that we can move to the next one. So let me clean up the set real quick and we're gonna see what we have in the next ball. So this is something new and exciting. We got the box of chocolates and this is our mold. The reason I'm saying it's something new is because MiniVerse never ever gave us a mold. So for the first time, we have a mold that can actually be reused over and over again, which is absolutely great because it opens up the possibilities for the way we create other miniatures moving forward. Here we have a jar of sprinkles. It seems like we got some red, white, and pink sprinkles. And here's the bottle of milk chocolate resin we got for this miniature, accompanied by the nozzle tip for easy pouring. And this is a very nice velvety chocolate box, a nice hot pink with a red bow. And then this is where our chocolates will go. We'll have 3 heart-shaped, 3 round, and then 2 rectangular. And then in the last little baggie, we have a spatula, which I'm not sure exactly what we'll use it for because, yeah, everything just gets poured in the mold. So let's get everything ready. Honestly, I don't even know if I'm going to use the sprinkles. Maybe I'm going to put it on one of them or something, but yeah, not a big fan. Also, a quick note on this mold. It seems like we have 3 types of heart-shaped chocolates, 2 different types of rectangular, and then all the other 3 round ones are the same. So that's good information because based on this, we know how to customize each of them. Okay, so for this miniature, one thing I definitely want to do is create different flavors of chocolates. We're going to use the lemon cream for some white chocolate because white chocolate is not really white. It's kind of like a yellowish color. And then we're going to use the pink glaze for some strawberry chocolate or maybe like raspberry white chocolate type of thing. So let's get all these ready. So one of the white chocolates I'm going to do will be a round one, and I'm going to add sprinkles to this one only. And if it actually looks good, I can always do more. So first I want to add just a little bit of resin here at the bottom. I'm going to swish it around a little bit, make sure it gets into all those cracks. I got to say that's a little bit more yellow than I thought. I don't know if I have a different type of resin, but we're going to go with this for now. So now I'm going to add, well, before I even started talking, these things started coming out. I think that's a little too much, but let me try and throw some of them out. All right, I got rid of some of them, but I'm gonna push the rest to the bottom. And now we're just gonna fill the rest of it with resin. I hope that isn't too much. Maybe I can take out just a little bit with a toothpick. Okay, let's do one that's just classic chocolate. Maybe this one over here can be a pink heart. You gotta be really careful, it's so easy to overfill these. It really doesn't need a lot of resin. Let's do a chocolate heart. So I went through my resin again and I found some caramel and some coffee. Problem is I don't have a nozzle for these, so I don't know if I can get them in. I'm gonna try with the toothpick a little bit at a time. Maybe it's gonna work, maybe it's not gonna work, but we're gonna see what happens. And I was thinking for the caramel one, we can sprinkle some of these on top. It's technically granola, but it does look exactly like crushed peanuts, right? So I would kind of like if this round one was caramel. Oh boy, I think that's too thick. Yeah, it's definitely too thick, and I think we're gonna have problems with bubbles. What I could do is add in here some of that water resin that we got because it's really runny. Let's see if that will work. It kind of worked. Not really. Yeah, I think it's still too thick, but we're gonna try it anyway. What's the worst that can happen? The good thing about these is that we can always make more. Okay, we definitely need at least one more to be chocolate. You guys know how much I love chocolate, and I want that nice heart to actually be white chocolate. See, I think this one needs just a little bit more resin. Not a bubble, a resin, darn it. And in this last one, I want it to be half milk chocolate and then half white chocolate. Well, I don't think I left a lot of room for the white chocolate, but oh well. Everything is ready, so now let's hit it with the UV light and see what happens. I totally forgot to make a coffee chocolate, but let's hit these with the UV light, see what happens, and then we can probably make more. Okay, before I cure the whole thing more, let's add the white chocolate here. Whatever space I have left, it's probably going to be a quarter white chocolate, and then the rest of the 3/4 will be just milk chocolate. Okay, the moment of truth. They're all done. I did turn them around and I noticed some bubbles here and there, but yeah, hopefully they're not going to be too bad. Worst case scenario, we're just going to remake some of them. So let's get this one out first. All right. So this one had a little bubble trap there in the corner, but it's not too bad. Let's see how the other ones look. This is the white chocolate and it's absolutely perfect. Even though it doesn't really look like white chocolate, it kind of looks like a custard of sorts. So this one also has a couple bubbles over there in the corner, but it's not too bad. I think we can get away with that. Honestly, at this point, I feel like the bubbles are almost unavoidable. Even on this one, we got two. Luckily though, they're strategically placed and it gives the impression that you know, that's how they're supposed to be. This is the one that was supposed to be half milk chocolate, half white chocolate. It more resembles like a milk chocolate with some type of orange base, which honestly isn't too bad. I really like the combination between milk chocolate and orange. But again, that's not exactly what we were going for here. Okay, so the caramel one is definitely a fail. As you can see, a huge bubble got caught in there, and I'm 100% sure that's because the resin was just too thick. So we're gonna redo this one. Here's the round milk chocolate. Looks absolutely perfect. This whole thing, by the way, is such a tease because, as you guys know, I really love chocolate, and this really makes me crave it now. And then the last one we had in there was the white chocolate with the sprinkles, and I think it turned out okay-ish. The way I see it, it looks more like a Jell-O cup than a chocolate. So excluding the white caramel one, I would also like to recreate the heart, this one specifically, the milk chocolate heart, because I think those two bubbles are a little bit too big. But for the round one, I was thinking of adding some of that crumble from the red velvet at the top and then pour some pink resin in. What do you guys think? Will it turn out okay? So I'm gonna try to get the tiniest amount of crumble on this toothpick and throw it in that mold. Maybe just a little bit more. All right, now let's add the pink chocolate. I'm gonna use a toothpick to hopefully remove any bubbles. Okay, moment of truth. I think it turned out pretty good. It almost looks like there's crushed rose petals in there. The bottom is a little bit uneven, but other than that, it looks good. There's absolutely no bubbles at all. Okay, I think we're gonna have to remake this one too, because look, it doesn't even stay properly, and when we put it in the box, it's gonna just look really weird. I don't know, should I do the same thing or should I just make it pink? Straight up pink. We're gonna do a little bit of pink at the top and then chocolate on the bottom part. Let's see how that looks. Okay, I think that's a little too much. Okay, now this one looks a lot nicer. It's still slanted a little bit. I don't know why. I really don't understand why. Like, I'm hitting the thing on the table every time to make sure it levels out, but for some reason it doesn't. So I don't know if I'm gonna customize any of these, because this would be kind of like my perfect type of box of chocolates, you know? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it looks. Let's get them all in the box and see the final result. I think this looks absolutely lovely just the way it is. I think if I would have done more to them, they would have just been overcrowded and not very realistic. The only one I'm not very happy with is the one at the bottom, the round one, which kind of looks like a shrimp the way it's in the box like that. So let's put it here to the side, clean our set, and then move on to the next one. Okay, here we have a very lovely light pink tray. These are some lovely cookie decorations or toppers. And here are the heart-shaped cookies. We have 8 in total. They come with this plastic cookie tray, which I'm guessing it means they're fresh out of the oven. These are some incredibly tiny heart-shaped sprinkles. Here's our pink resin or glaze or icing. And then we have the usual knob plus the tweezers. No utensils this time. First things first, let's get the cookies out. Okay, that was a bad idea. So whenever you do this, just cut the back part of this. Don't try to pull it like that. As you can see, it doesn't really work. The cookies are looking very realistic. I like how perfect they are. Like, there's no things here on the side that you need to trim or anything. It's just a perfect heart-shaped cookie. Seems like it needs a little bit of mixing. It kind of looks like it's separated a little bit. And as you probably figured out, I'm going to put my own spin on them. I'm not going to make them the way they said to make them. And for that, we need some reinforcements from different series. So I got myself some different colors resin, some different toppings, and it's safe to say that we're going to make these cookies extra special. So I have 2 cookie sheets here. What I'm going to do is stick 4 cookies on each of these with some mounting putty, and that will make it a lot easier to work with them. Since we have 8 cookies and 4 different types of resin, we're gonna do 2 of each. So let's start with the pink one. Okay, can't really hold them like this for too long because as you can see, it's kind of like dripping down. The resin is not thick enough, so I'm gonna have to work really fast. Maybe it was a little bit too much resin on this one. Okay, so far so good. In terms of decorations for these two cookies, I'm going to use some of that red velvet crumble, and then for the other one, I'm just gonna use the love topper. Then we're gonna shine our UV light on it, and here's how they look. Pretty simple, nothing too crazy about them. Just wanted to do kind of like a test run to see how everything works. For the next two, let's use the ketchup resin to make them nice and red. And then for decorations, I'm gonna add a yes to this one and a decorative flower here in the corner. And then to this other one, we're gonna add 2 pieces of chocolate curls. Maybe we can make them so that they kind of stick out almost like an arrow. And since we have a little bit of extra space, we're also gonna add a couple flowers to this as well. Now, as usual, the UV light. And this is how they turned out. In my opinion, they look a lot better than the other ones. I'm really curious to see which one do you guys think turned out the best once we finish with all of them. Right now, it's time to put this straight to the side and move on to the next one. So let's do vanilla next. I have a feeling this is gonna take us a little bit because we don't have the nozzle, and this also might be a little bit thick. The good part about the resin being thicker is that I can turn it like this and then you guys can see how I spread it around. Okay, now that we're done with that part, for decorations, we're gonna go with the ones that they provided. So maybe we're gonna use the hugs on this one and then the kiss on the other one. And then we're gonna make use of these heart-shaped sprinkles. They're not really sprinkles because they do not sprinkle, they just, oh, there we go. Okay, that's enough. I really hope I can place them. I don't want them to drop just randomly everywhere. Yeah, they're really hard to place because they're so light and tiny. But I guess we kind of managed. As usual, UV light. This is how they turned out, and I think they're pretty cool. Now enough with messing around. Let's get the real thing, chocolate. The problem with this one is that the resin is really thin, so I'm gonna have to work pretty fast. And I probably added a little bit more than I should, so I'm just gonna take some off. Yeah, I definitely added too much. If it was thicker, that would not have been a problem, but this resin is quite thick and it was made like that because it's I'm using the resin that I put in the molds for the chocolates. So it's supposed to be thin to, you know, minimize the chances of getting bubbles. These are gonna be kind of like a lighter type of chocolate cookies, I guess. So far so good. And for decorations, I want to use this cutie white topper. I think it will be a nice contrast. And then I'm gonna add some of these sprinkles we got for the box of chocolates. And then this other one will get one flower over here. And then one little heart over here in the corner. Now in the oven they go. So now that they're all done, let me know which ones are your favorite. The pink, the red, the white, or the brown. And while you think about that, I'm gonna get them unstuck from these cookie sheets and get them on that nice pink plate. Look at this gorgeous tray of Valentine's Day cookies. Not a single one looks the same as the other. Each of them are individually unique and beautiful, just like all of you guys. And by the way, this is how MiniVerse recommended we make them. And this is what we did. But anyway, we're gonna stop here. I made a big mess, so I'm gonna have a lot of cleaning to do. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know in the comments and by liking the video. If you're not yet subscribed, in the name of love, please take a second and consider doing so. Now, as usual, you guys stay golden. Happy Valentine's Day. Keep on shining, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.